Good morning, and thank you for making the time to join us on today's virtual meeting to discuss Katmai National Park and preserves in the Alagnak Wild Rivers Backcountry and Wilderness Management Planning process. This is the beginning of a scoping exercise, which will help us collect information from an interested and concerned public about the topics that this plan is intended to address, so that we can consider those comments in our planning efforts. You'll notice at the top of the screen, perhaps, that the meeting is being recorded. The intent is to just record the presentation portion, which is the first portion of the meeting, and then turn off the recording so that the public feels the ability to comment freely and openly. So we're just recording this for our use afterwards. My name is Mark Sturm. I'm the superintendent at Catmine National Park and Preserve, and also the Alagnak Wild River. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. The National Park Service is seeking your input to guide the development of a wilderness and backcountry management plan at Katmai National Park and Preserve and the Alagnak Wild River. This plan is in the early stage of development, and the National Park Service needs your feedback. You can access the materials related to this planning process by going to the link shown on the screen currently. Next slide, please. I'd like to just take a couple of minutes to introduce other park staff who work at Catmine National Park and Preserve and the Alagnak Wild River. I wonder if I could ask Troy Hammond to introduce himself, please.
Hello, this is Troy Hammond. I've been the Natural Resource Manager at Catmai for a number of years, and I've actually been working on staff here for Catmai for 23 years, and looking forward to seeing what we can learn about how to improve the management of the park through this process. I also have spent a lot of time on the Alagnak and at Aniakchak on the ground in both places when I was working as a fishery biologist for the park before my current position, and I serve as one of the park pilots.
Thanks, Troy. And also working with Troy in the Natural Resource Program for the park is Kelsey Griffin. Kelsey?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelsey Griffin. I work as a coastal biologist for the park. So I've been studying everything from seabirds and bears to wolves, and then also very involved in wilderness management. So looking forward to hearing comments from folks and happy to answer questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Kelsey. And also on the call today is Alex Mackey, who helps us run our concessions and commercial operator program. Alex?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, so I'll keep this brief. But yes, I'm the commercial services program manager for the Katmai park units, and we estimate about 93% of our visitors are supported by commercial operators, since we're not on a road system. So either through transportation or lodging, food and beverage operations, or through one of our many guided services. We have a lot of commercial operators who assist our visitors experience the park to the fullest extent. And the vast majority of our providers also provide services in the areas discussed in this plan.
Thanks, Alex. Those are the park staff we have on our call this morning. I wonder if I could pass it to Rose to introduce herself and others and take it from here.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, everyone. My name's Rose Burbis. I'm a project manager for the Katmai Wilderness and Backcountry Management Plan. We work for the Denver Service Center, and I want to just introduce a few of my teammates that are joining me today. Elizabeth Oliphant is a visitor use specialist. Tessa Buono is a natural resource specialist. Hillary Rustick, cultural resource specialist, and all of us will be helping to facilitate and guide the public listening sessions and working behind the scenes on logistics. If you're not familiar with the Denver Service Center, we just wanted to give you a quick one-sentence overview of who we are. We're a centralized office that provides planning services across the National Park Service. We help to share best practices and shared experiences from other parks to this project and really help to extend the park's capacity for planning. Our interdisciplinary teams are composed of a variety of specialists, and you can see those are represented today, but also include landscape architects, visitor use and socio-econ specialists, natural resource and cultural resource specialists. We work on a variety of plan and project types, from site design, resource stewardship strategies, river management plans, and like today, wilderness backcountry management plans. We can go to the next slide. I'm going to give a brief overview of some Teams instructions for those who might not be quite as familiar with the Teams environment. You can see on the screen basically a screenshot of what you should be seeing in this meeting and different options for participation. So you can click around on the participants. We encourage the use of chat. The hand raise and reaction functions are pointed out there. There's additional controls we'll talk about in a minute. Of high importance to y'all, video on, microphone on and off, video on and off as well. You can go to the next slide. If you do click on any of the hand raise or reactions, you can see you'll get a whole bunch of different options here. So if you want to react to anything, you can use the thumbs up, the clapping, you can react in all of these ways, as well as raising your hand is in that section too. Next slide. In the additional controls is where you can find the ability to apply background effects and turn off incoming video. Elizabeth has kindly dropped in the link or dropped in the phone number to join by phone. If you are having trouble with the video or Teams in any way, feel free to jump in on that. And on the next slide, you'll also see that in the additional control section is where you can access the live captioning. So if you are needing live captioning, you can turn it on through there. We also have the live captioner has dropped a link in. If those captions are hard to read, you can go up and find the link there to click on to get maybe something that's a little bit easier to read. On the next slide, we just wanted to give you a quick overview of how to participate. Please feel free to raise your hand. You can enter questions or comments into the chat. If you are joining by phone, you can feel free to unmute by dialing *6 or pause. And we wanted to just have some time to reflect, pause to discuss questions at the end. We will be giving a short presentation and then have time for question and answer. Next, we wanted to talk a little bit about just a guide to successful participation. We really encourage you to be present, share the air, mute yourself when you're not speaking, and communicate with respect. We're really looking forward to giving the overview of the Wilderness Backcountry Management Plan current status and hearing from you all on your thoughts. And these are just some guidelines to contribute to that thoughtful participation. With that, we'll go to the next slide and I'll turn things back to Mark.
Thanks, Rose. Appreciate it very much. We have just a few slides to introduce the plan, the need for it, and what the anticipated goals in the planning process will be. So I guess if we can go to the next slide, please. Just speaking to the introduction of the plan, I just wanted to highlight the park's purpose, and in this case we have two separate units, if you will, that are managed by the Park Service. And regarding Catmine National Park and Preserve, the purpose of Catmine National Park and Preserve is to protect, study, and interpret active volcanism surrounding the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, extensive coastal resources, and habitats supporting a high concentration of salmon and brown bears, and an ongoing story of integrated, of humans integrated with a dynamic subarctic ecosystem. And with regard to the Alagnak Wild River, the purpose of the Alagnak Wild River is to protect and enhance the Alagnak River's outstanding fish and wildlife, scenic, recreational, and cultural values, its free-flowing condition, and its water quality for the benefit and enjoyment of present and future generations. Next slide, please. The need for the plan. You know, as managers of both of these Park Service units, we have identified a number of different, I guess, issues that continuously occur that have caused us to perceive the need for this plan. The following are primary aspects that we hope to address during this planning process. Impacts of increased concentrated visitor use on wilderness and backcountry areas. Human-wildlife interactions and potential conflicts. Management of commercial services as visitor demand increases. And challenges for managing wilderness and backcountry areas with limited staff across millions of acres and ANILCA wilderness complexities. Next slide, please. The need for the plan. The plan is needed to safeguard wilderness character, address the effect of concentrated and increasing visitation, and to provide guidance and direction for managing commercial and private visitor use. Next slide, please. The project's goals. The project's goals are to establish desired conditions for managing areas that align with appropriate resource and/or visitor experience goals, to develop indicators and thresholds related to wilderness, resources, and visitor use to inform management strategies and actions, to identify extent necessary determinations for commercial services that will establish appropriate levels and types of visitor use to ensure the protection of wilderness character, subsistence use, backcountry resources, and high-quality visitor experiences. To provide a management framework and guidance that will direct park resources towards high-priority wilderness stewardship needs and help support long-term monitoring of wilderness character. To engage Alaska Native tribal entities, key stakeholders, and park partners to address planning issues. And finally, to identify management actions and adaptive management strategies that will ensure the protection of wilderness and backcountry areas, including critical cultural resources, and maintain high-quality visitor experiences in the context of climate change. Next slide, please. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Rose to explain the planning process.
Great, thanks, Mark. We can go to the next slide. This is a helpful slide to overview where we're at in the planning process. You can see there's several key project phases that we've outlined. The first is really the foundation and problem analysis, which is where we are right now. We've established the purpose and need, which we just reviewed some of the key issues, developing the project goals and objectives, reviewing data and previous studies, exploring desired conditions, and engaging stakeholders, you all. What's coming next is the opportunity to explore solutions, viable concepts, and strategies that will help to resolve the key issues and opportunities, assemble concepts into some preliminary strategies, and then conduct a public review of the strategies and engage stakeholders again. And the final phase of the process will be phase 3, decision making, where we'll identify indicators and thresholds, confirm strategies, develop the plan, and any associated compliance that's required. Also conduct public and stakeholder review and finalize the plan. Next slide. And with this, Tessa?
So my name is Tessa Buono, and I work with Rose in supporting the development of this plan. So we will now turn to your critical role in the development of this plan, and we'll discuss how you can share your thoughts and ideas that will help in the development of this project. So from now until April 19th, we invite you to participate in this planning process. And you can participate in two main ways. The first is through the project homepage, which is shown on the screen, parkplanning.nps.gov/catmi-wbmp. And one of my teammates will enter that website into the chat at this time as well. The second way to provide official comment for this project is via mail. So you are welcome to send mail of hard copy comments to the address shown on the screen here, the National Park Service at the Denver Service Center in Lakewood, Colorado. And lastly, if you have any questions that come up that perhaps are not addressed today, and maybe you have a question come up later and you just want kind of more of an informal communication, you are welcome to email the address shown as well, and that's catmi_planning@nps.gov. Again, the email address is not official correspondence, but it is there as an opportunity to ask questions as you would like. So since this project homepage is so important for sharing your comments, we just want to kind of orient folks about how to use this website to provide your comments. So on this slide, you'll see what the project homepage looks like. And on the left-hand side, which is circled in red, you see open for comment. So you'll want to click on that button to provide your comments, and then after you do that, it will take you to this next page, which provides the Civic Engagement Spring 2022 link. So then you'll click on that button, which will bring you to this landing page. And there are two buttons for comment now, which you see circled in red. Either one takes you to the appropriate place to provide your official comments. And if you scroll down on this same page, you'll see what we call topic questions. And if you answer any of these questions in your reply, this can just kind of help guide conversation and make sure that folks are kind of thinking about the types of issues that this plan is going to address. On this page, we also have two documents. As shown, we have a one-page flyer and a longer newsletter as well. These additional materials provide more information about this plan and are available to the public to circulate as you would wish as well. Lastly, there is, if you click on the links button on the left-hand side, you'll see a link to our story map. And for those who may not be familiar with what a story map is, it is an interactive website that provides even more information about this project. And if you click on that link, it will bring you to this website. And we have a short link for this story map as well, which again, my teammates will enter into the chat at this time. But when you go to our story map, it looks like this at the landing page. And this is really an excellent opportunity to, again, learn more about this project, see maps, zoom in, really learn more about how the plan is going to address the needs that the park is facing currently, including some of the key objectives for this plan. So we really encourage folks to visit this story map. So I will now hand it back over to Rose for our Q&A session.
Great, thanks, Tessa. At this time, we wanted to open the floor back to you all to see what questions you have. We can go to the next slide with the questions. These are the questions that you'll see when you go to Pepsi to provide official comment. You are welcome to unmute and ask us questions. You're also more than welcome to drop those into the chat. So at this time, we'll turn things over to folks for questions.